Okay, hey everybody. Welcome to another edition of Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David and I'm your host. Today we talk about DNA of great players. And with me is another star-studded panel who would discuss that with us. Clayton Ince, welcome to the set, Clayton.
Thanks for being here. It's always welcome. A welcoming atmosphere when I'm here with you. And, it's great knowledge that's been passed around.
We appreciate you so much, bud. Thank you for being here. And we got Angus Eve. Angus, welcome to the set, bud.
A pleasure, sir. Pleasure.
And next to Angus is Anthony Clark.
Always
Anthony,
a pleasure to discuss football, Steve.
Great. Okay, you guys know we want to discuss DNA of great players. And, I want to do this because I want to talk to the younger players out there so they can develop good attitudes and good habits and all of that, and so they can recognize what it would take to become great. So, again, barbershop discussion. Just jump in, one person talk at a time, and that's all. That's all the rules. Right?
Attributes of a great player. I grew up watching tapes of people like Pele and these guys because when we grew up, we were very influenced by the Brazilian way. I think it could have been because of the colors. It was just like ours at first, but their skill and the rhythm was just as ours. So I always look at the mental attitude. A player must have that mental strength, that never say die kind of mentality. We must be blessed with natural ability, of course, and he must be able to take coaching and then put that whole package together and bring it on the field consistently. And I think that's the marks of a great player.
I see it as, the determination of the player. Most of the players that we see, look at Neymar, we look at Messi, and, even ourselves down here, the background of the area they come from, the villages, the drive, looking at yourself as in someone of a less fortunate, but also want to come out of it. So that inner spirit of the drive of getting out of that area to make yourself happy, your family happy, and the community and the country. That is one of the things is inspiring, the inspirational part of a great player.
Steve, I think what both Angus and Clayton says, I can round both comments up into one statement. The love of the sport. Because if you love something, you'll do anything for that. Your attitude will be right, your determination will be right, your motivation will be right. And I think that is the main DNA string or strain in the great players, that they love the sport. They love the sport. And by loving the sport, they put all their effort, energies, they want to learn more and more. When you love something, you want to learn more and more and more of it. And that will drive you into trying to become an expert of this thing, right? Because you love it so much. So I think that is the number one DNA strain, that you have to love the sport. Everything else after that is developed. Right, you develop your understanding of the game, you develop your knowledge of the game, you develop everything else, right, after that, comes after that.
So let's talk about that, because everybody see the final product and don't realize how much work is put into that before it gets to them in the face. So let's break down some of the things that happen behind the scene to make that player great.
I can give you a personal example.
Okay.
For example, way back when you had your schoolwork, you had your chores, and the space between that and sleep, you had that opportunity to go and play football. I remember Dwight used to say that he used to get licks, he used to run away.
Right.
To go and play football because he loved the sport so much and he was willing to risk anything to go and play this sport. And Dwight reached to the pinnacle of his his game. So a lot of people see the end product. They see the player play, but they don't know how much sacrifice, hard work, training, dedication, all of that comes in prior to that final product.
I look at it as the discipline, because we grew from home, as you said, rightfully say, you get up in the morning, first thing you do is you make up your bed. That was a discipline. Had to go and do your chores. It's part of a discipline. You had to do your studies. You know what I mean? You had to, and then all those things is what, as Clark is saying, breaking it down, is where you start from. You understand? And if a player don't understand these things to do in the footballing world, you know what I mean, you wouldn't get to the pinnacle of your career or the heights that you expect. So if you drop short in any one of those, if I didn't make up my bed, you understand? It come like I haven't prepared a certain part of my football career. If I don't go schooling, I educate myself, I wouldn't understand the game. You understand? And if I don't do my chores, which is the chore on the pitch, which is you specialize in, you understand? So those key elements are things for just in your household, you start from there, and it all goes into you as a person, as a sportsman or woman.
I think we all four here would have played abroad. And I think we know how difficult it is to get a contract abroad. We're seeing it now, where a lot of our players are not really getting major deals in the bigger countries now. And I mean, credit to them, they're still getting jobs out there. It's very, very difficult, you know, to be a top athlete in any sport that you would be playing. It takes a lot of self-sacrifice. A lot of times that you're by yourself. I think the worst times are when you're actually injured, because it's when you're injured you really know, you have to dig really deep down inside, because you're not with the team, you're not with the group. There's a natural camaraderie when you're with the group. There's a natural, vibe and a feeling there. And when a player is all by him lonesome and he has to really dig deep, it may have a game that it's just not, things not working out for you, and you have to search within yourself. That greatness, and anybody who is great will tell you that hard work, determination, and that skill that you would be born with or blessed with naturally is what it takes to make a great athlete. But you have to develop the skill. You have to work very hard. People come on a Saturday or a Sunday evening and watch the game, but they don't know. I don't think any athlete goes out on the pitch without some form of an injury, and that pain barrier that you have to play through. And the person that will chicken out and not want to go on that pitch, that person wouldn't get to the next level. The person who fights through that pain barrier and that mental barrier, and he probably didn't eat a proper meal at home and still goes out and perform, that is what makes you a great athlete.
And we all have, like you said, we all have played outside, and we all have met players that we never dreamed we was going to meet. Maybe in the oldest time, like myself with Pelé and the George Best and people I heard, Eusebio I heard about. Yeah. And then you get to sit down and have dinner with them and listen to them talk. And you learn so much. Yeah. So I think for the younger players who are listening, they need to get into the history of football and learn about the people who came before them and paved the way, and talk to as many of the older players as they can to get the information and to help them round up
Steve, I
themselves.
think we have a crisis right now. First to begin, they don't understand that practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. You have to practice, according to Clayton, all those habits before, making your bed, that type of discipline. Those things are practicing practical things in your life. So you practice that discipline of your chores and all that home, you will bring that onto the field, right? So the practice makes permanent. Not only that, the crisis aspect of it is that mediocre players feel that they have to be paid to play football. We did not get paid for playing football. We loved the sport. and we did the simple things well, and because of that, we got paid. So the crisis is that has reversed. You have to get paid to go out there and learn how to play football. And that is why I said that the main DNA strain is that you have to have the love for the game, and you will do anything for this game. And the game always is bigger than you are. So that is a serious situation that we have here. I mean, I have now taken up the mantle of president of San Fernando Giants. And you have players not even coming to practice, but they want to start a discussion of salary, of how much we will get per game and this and that and the other. And I am saying that that discussion can't even start with you, right?
well, like the people say, how to say, you have to put food on the table. You have to eat the food.
The young people today. Have food,
so
work and right. Maybe that's why we have so much crime. Because everybody wants to eat without working. You have to work before you can eat. You have to plan before crop grows for you to eat.
As Clarky say, I mean, you have to love the game. You have to love yourself. You have to love the things that you do. And as you say, I played Angus for many years, and Angus could always call on us, Clarky could always call on us, and we go because we love to play it, and we love the people that we are associate ourselves with. Sometimes we play many games, go plenty places, and we never ask for anything. We just ask for us to be together. You understand? To make that bond, to make that inspirational to others. And that's the love of the game. The love of the game is within there, with the people that you associate yourself. And people give you things as reward. You shouldn't get a reward before you do anything. And you know what I mean? In the DNA, as you say, in our time, was going out there, go and work hard, go and sacrifice, all those things, and then your reward of contracts, of people coming out to see you, and going and see the world, as you say, go meet great players. I meet my idols. I met Schmeichel and I met Bruce Gobler, and I had an opportunity to play with them.
Right.
And those are things that in my life I would have never seen. I watched them on TV those times. I played a game at Anfield, a testimonial game, and you know what I mean, with the sacrifice and the love of the game.
Rewards come.
Yeah. I think, Steve, you would have done this. I remember as a young boy growing up in Carenage, I would go on the pitch and just be training, just, hitting the net, just crossing a ball, going in the sea and running. We used to do those things naturally because the older folks tell us, this is how it is, the salt water goes strengthen. And so we would buy into those things. And we used to train naturally a long time, to go by my grandmother's house, I had to walk up 84 steps. And my father would always send me to drop something for my grandmother. But inadvertently, I was building myself. I was building my physical strength. And then when I started to want to play football and play at a higher level, I then started to develop role models, people who I can look at and emulate the things that they would have been doing. And as I got older, I wanted to do more, and I wanted to do more. So I watched David Beckham cross the ball, and I used to watch Luis Figo. And I started to go down the line and cross. I mean, in trainings after we finished with the under-18 team, Dwight, myself, Anthony Sherwood, we would stay back. Anthony hitting from midfield, I'm on the flank, and I'm crossing balls. So a couple of friends who want something for themselves also can help you to develop your skill and develop. And I developed that crossing ability. And then when I got a little bit further, most of the guys who I would play with the national team, they would be coming back from abroad. Russell and Clarky and all these guys would have been coming back from Portugal and a lot of guys. And I was one of the few local guys. And I said I wanted to be best local guy, so I would make the 18. I wanted the best local guy so I could make the 11. That was my hope. If I was the best local guy, then I would make the 11. So I perfected crossing and perfected the right flank and corners and free kicks, so that the skill that I think sometimes when kids nowadays talk about skill, they just talk about the dribbling. But finishing is an art.
Correct.
So practice finishing.
Crossing is an art.
Defending is an
Correct.
art.
Correct.
Goalkeeping is an art. Shot stopping, crossing the ball is an art. So when we talk about skill, I think the kids are getting caught up with juggling and tricks for the circus.
Correct, yes. Right, what I don't know if you're right, you spoke about role models. I had one of the best role models. I had a role model that used to come and pick me up at my house and take me to see games that he was playing. Steve used to pass for me when I was 8 years old. Imagine that. At that age, everybody hearing about Steve David.
Yeah.
And that was the person who made me fall in love with the game.
Yeah.
Imagine this guy played with Pele, Beckenbauer, and all these players. Now here,
Picking you.
coming to pick me up. When I was under 16 on a national team, all my footballing gear used to come from the US. Steve David used to send all my gear for me. Now, what other motivation? So I had a little advantage
Yeah.
because I had someone who loved the game,
Yeah.
showing me how much they love the game,
Yeah.
taking me to see how to love the game,
Yeah.
and right and so on. Not only that, you also mentioned about staying back after training.
Mm-hmm.
Today, before the session finished, players ready to go home.
Yeah, time to go.
Time to go. Sometimes
They wanna
it's
go.
dark. We can't even see the ball. And we there practicing.
Because we had no street lights.
We had no street light.
Had no stadium.
We had no
And no
lights.
stadium,
Yeah,
and
no.
we in the dark.
Yeah.
Sometimes the ball hitting in your face because you can't even see the ball. But we there plying our trade, trying to get better and better at our trade. And I don't think the players of today have that love for the
that's
sport.
right.
They are in love with the rewards of the
Rewards
sport,
of it, yeah.
but they are not in love with the sport. And I think that is an issue.
But what are we doing to make them aware? Like when if somebody is doing good in my neighborhood that I think has potential, it doesn't even have to be football. Like the kid who is running and
Athletics.
Richards
Right.
during.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, just to say, hey, I'm seeing you, I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
You're doing good.
Yeah.
And those are things that we need to do
Yeah.
as older players
Yeah.
to motivate these
Yeah.
people. So let's talk about that when we come back because we need to take a break
Of
right
course.
now. Viewers, we'll be right back after the short break.
We are inspired. We are practiced. We learn. We have challenges. We are supported. We persevere. And we shine. This is our commitment to you.
Okay, welcome back, viewers. Yeah, guys, before the break, like I was saying, it's important for us to recognize, you know, somebody in the neighborhood or some player that's doing great and pat them on the back and say, I'm seeing you. I know, I'm looking at you. You're doing good. Keep up the good work.
It's very important for us to do that. And I was very happy to hear Anthony saying that he was, a bit earlier, we were talking off camera, and he said he was president of Giants. And that definitely means he's still helping in the community. He's still there with the kids and trying to inspire them. I think, Steve, you all would have come down. I have sports days and different events that I throw down in my community, and that's my way of keeping. I run the Carnage United football team, you know. So we need to go back and do those. I know Clayton is doing his stuff, which he probably will tell about, but we need to go back. It's very important because I think, Steve, that, I'm awed by your presence, because I know you were one of the people I was targeting in the sense of trying to reach that sort of plateau. I was running down one of your records and stuff like that. So, you know, I don't think we have that now. I think if I ask a kid on the national team now who is Steve David, he doesn't know. You know, and we probably need to have, you know, dinners and stuff. I see them have it all over the world, where you bring the older players in forums like this, but you have the kids out there, and the national players now can ask you some questions and learn from you. I think we used to have that more. Bertil Sinclair, he would have brought in Selby and different guys, Sedley Joseph and a lot of different guys. He would have brought them in to have conversations with us, and I think that is lacking today. Yes. You know, they're thinking about all these psychologists and all these people, but who knows it better than somebody like you who have been there and done it all?
In what Angus is saying, it was really good, because in my time too, I had men like Lincoln Phillip that, came back to me and pat me on the back, give me little pointers, and I look up to him. He leave those sort of trademarks onto you and inspirational stuff. And as Angus been doing his thing, I do my thing. I do mentor programs. I have the Clayton Inns Academy, and we all go and try to talk with the kids, reach out to the kids. I did programs too under the ministry too of the where you go pre-resolution, where you find out the kids, their backgrounds, they try to work with them, because you have to find out what is their problem and try to make their problem easier by giving them a listening ear to help them and guide them. You're not telling them what to do, you're guiding them on things that will help them to be great players and to be a great person. And as Angus said, we need more programs where that, you get the not football, the sporting icons or anything, or icon for Trinidad, to help and show these youngsters that, they could do it, but just you need to apply yourself in the right way.
How do we hold back the kid who thinks he's made it? He's 14 or 15 years old and thinks he knows it all. And he doesn't. You guys are old guys. You don't know. Today is different. And how you address that and how you handle these kids like that?
It's a definite challenge. And not only that, but you also are in competition with so many video games now. In our day, when we needed entertainment, it was out of the house. And now you are in football and outdoor sports in general is in so much competition with, your cell phone. The kid has a cell phone and he can entertain himself for the entire day. And it is a problem with just the health of kids. So that is one area. With the issue that you have addressed, if that kid growing up does not understand the love for the game, if he loves the game, he will never feel that he has reached that pinnacle, because you know that the game is always so much further ahead than you are, and you will always strive to learn more and more and more of the game. So I think that would be an issue of self-pride and not really understanding what the game of football is about, not loving the game of football.
But he would not have had that issue with you, Steve. That would have happened before. And probably the previous people that was around him would give him that bad habit.
Correct.
You don't have to train, boy.
You're the best.
Turn up for a game and he would play, and guys who train in all the time They have to work, but he just turns up and he plays. And some of us spoil the kids like that, you know. The other thing is that just tell him to Google Steve David next time. He'll understand that when he see it. And and that's a major problem. A 14-year-old will not know anything about Steve David. Now, I realize in my coaching career, players respect people they know. They've seen you play, or if you're coaching with them and you can bend the ball around, they start to watch you like that. And hence the reason I normally pick coaches who can demonstrate, younger coaches for younger kids who can still play a bit and demonstrate, because the kids respect that when coach could do it and he can show me.
Correct.
He could do an example instead of, coach, bend the ball so, about tell a kick the ball so. But if you can show them, they respect that more.
Correct.
I think a lot of the problems that we have is that kid don't know Steve David, and we need to now know. We need to have sessions with the kids and then where they can see these people in action and see what these people do and know that these people know what they're talking about.
The sport now, most of the kids, as Angus said too, kids see more with their eyes. They learn more with their eyes. Before, we used to have to go and do it physically. You understand? So seeing with their eyes now and seeing the coach could do it, or see Steve David come to them, or, you know what I mean? Anybody come to them and could talk to them and inspire them, they learn more. You understand? But before, they watch a screen, and a screen is part of their life now. And we, as you say, the DNA into technology. In our case, DNA was physical work. And those kids feel that if I could do it on a PlayStation or on my phone, that I could do it naturally. We had to go out there in our time, out in the yard, with your toe burst open and still do it. And that is where you get that love.
You know, and to the great players, always the hardest working players in the team.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
Correct.
They're the first one in and the last one out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these are things that they have to develop. So, I mean, these are things that we need to help
Right.
the kids.
And again, it comes back to that one statement. They love the game.
Yeah.
If it is that you love something, you don't want to leave it. Right? You have to be pulled away from it. They are in love with PlayStation. They're in love with Xbox. They're in love with their phones. Right? That is what, in fact, you have to pull them away from that to even study, to eat. You have to pull them away from that to eat something. So it has to be in your DNA that you love football. If it is something that a parent is trying to force down into the kid, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. Tell me if you guys went through this, and tell me who is the person that you went through this with, like myself. Going to see Shell and get me a 3-pack of China for 5 cents, put them in my pocket, sit down behind the fence, roll it out, eat my China, and looking at Bobby Sukram and Henry Quanvey and Monty Douglas and all these guys, right, in a maze. Like they were bigger than life.
Yeah.
And then when my turn came, and I came and started to play, when Bobby would come in the stand with a little umbrella in the rain, I see all that. And once he's in stand, I'm ready to perform.
Yeah.
Because he's looking at me.
Yeah.
And so, did you guys went through that? And who are the players you went through that with?
Well, I'll start. You know, I mean, in my time, I was in Arima. So you had like the ASL and those teams coming up to Arima Velodrome. And then you had Arima United. And those times, and Fulham and Memphis. And those times. And I used to be scaling the wall. It had a dog man running in me with dog just to see these guys. And now when I go to Arima now and play in the Arima League, to see these guys come now and watch me is the same as I feel, you know what I mean, that I have to do something to prove now that I'm there with you.
You did it.
Yes. And it was a real nice feeling. As I say, those times were Carib, like those times to see Clarky play. You know what I mean? And those are the guys that you look up to. So now when you do it now and they see you and they could pat you on the back and say, well done, you feel that you did something well.
Right. There was 3 instances for me. There was a league in Barataria that Ken Butcher had. And there was a Carnage United team used to play in that league. There was also a league in PSA, it was Arthur Sweetheart, a semi-pro league that, I mean, attracted all the best players
See what will
in
happen.
Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah. So I used to go to watch those games and stuff, and I remember being 14 and wanting to be a part of that, you know, with my dad going and watching Junior Phillip and Ron Lafferty and, I mean, you name it, Leroy Span and every single player that you would want to know in Trinidad was played in that league. And I never got to play in that league because it ended before my time.
Right.
But when I was 17 years old, I was at Mocrapo Comprehensive and doing well. And I got an opportunity, me and Dean Pacheco, to be honest, we got the opportunity and we went and played the Carenage United team, and we get to play alongside the Ron Lafferty and the Junior Phillips and the Marlon Waterman, Eden Waterman, and these guys. And, you know, that was for me, that was one of the best. I still get goosebumps today because to be able to play with the gentlemen that you've been watching and growing up under, I mean, it was fantastic for me. And Bobby Sukram has always come to me, and funny enough, you call his name, you know, he's a fantastic guy. We always talk, and he always come to me and said, you know, keep up when I was playing, and now when I'm coaching, he's one of the people that still, you know, him and Bertil Sinclair, still my mentors like that. So, yeah, those kind of people that inspired me.
I mean, I was fortunate, as I said before, to have right at 8 years old, Steve David taking you to go and see his games. After that, Bobby would always come and talk to me. I always say thank God for the deceased Peter Stone.
Good guy.
Peter Stone used to have a group of the elite players coming together to play fet match football, and we used to go around Red Devils.
Yeah.
And we used to go around and play all over the country. And we used that allowed some of the community teams to see some of the great players and mix and mingle with them. That stopped after Peter Stone died. I think that was a great opportunity that needs to start back. I think the strike squad does a bit of that, but not as much. And maybe more teams and more clubs should actually start to practice that and go into the communities. I come back again, Steve, and I always, you know, put this mantle on the association. It is their responsibility to ensure that the evolution of the game and the evolution of the past players, that they are known by the youth players. They have to develop programs and different events where the old players come and play fet match and they play amongst themselves. I remember when Bobby Sukram and they used to have their team, I think it was BWA something.
Graduates.
The
Graduates.
Graduates.
And you saw they weren't playing against much younger fellas. They played against people their age, a little younger, but you saw the class of the player. So you're not allowing them to play against young players where they will run all over them because they're not fit. But they played against themselves, and you saw the intelligence of the player. You saw that even at that age, they were playing a brand of football that you now trying to learn. And that helped a lot. So I think the association has a big part to play in ensuring that the younger generation sees the older players and understand that it had players that was way better than them.
There are games, Steve, that goes on today. I mean, Dwight York was playing in the Bernabeu the other day for Manchester United. For I know that America plays Mexico Old Boys ever so often, and there are games we could play Jamaica, we could play these teams, and little kids come in the stadiums and they can see the older players play. He's right, you know. That was a big thing for me also, because I was on the youth team that went to the World Cup in 1991, and in 1990 the strike squad was qualifying for the World Cup. So that was one of my drives. I wanted to make that team. I wanted to be a part of that squad. And it so happened I got the opportunity to play with the likes of Clayton Morris and all these guys, and that Kerry Jameson and Brian Williams, and you know that Leroy Span. I mean, that was fantastic for me as a young man breaking out into the national team and being a part of that squad. Gally Cummins was the coach. And we need to do more things like that, and I hope that the strike squad still goes around.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. They do.
But they should have support from
the
FA.
association, correct.
And then what we do now is that now we have players like Arnold Dirk and Lyndon Andrews and all of these other generation Clayton Ince who would not have played for the strike squad. But now the evolution continues, that because the strike squad, some of the players may be a little bit older now. So now you need to incorporate these younger guys,
Correct.
but keep that tradition going
Correct.
forward. And maybe when we have these games, we have coaching clinics in the morning where
Correct.
players could come and the younger kids could come and talk to Steve David and all these guys, you know, and we have to keep that tradition. And we have to come together with the thing and stop having it be fragmented
Correct.
all over the place. I think we're too fragmented as a fraternity.
Correct.
And we need to come together and really for the betterment of football.
As a young kid, I always look ahead to the path that was paved before me.
Yeah.
And the reason I used to pick up Clarkie or any other little kid and take him to the game is because when I was younger, I would jump in my brother's car when he was going to the game, going to play. And I just felt so good to put his bag on my shoulder and
Correct.
walk in with him. So I felt if I felt that, the younger kids will feel the same with me.
Correct.
So Clarkie would grab the bag,
Correct.
and he put it in his shoulder, and he walk in, and he walking in, he don't have to pay.
Correct.
Come in and play and all that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give that back to them so they can, for whatever reason, it just happened automatically.
Yeah.
Without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I think we do need to get more involved in the younger ones' life as older players.
I remember having, Clayton could attest to this, having Kerry Batiste and Kevin Molino. They used to be in the camp with me.
Right.
I used to buy their boots. I used to buy, and they would stay in the camp with me. And I remember one time Kerry was cleaning Dwight boots. So you could get extra $2 in the camp and cleaning other men boots, ladders, and so Kerry would have been around that environment from a young kid, Kerry Batiste. Now he's the premier goal scorer in the Pro League over all the years. And Dwight was shocked when he said, this is the same kid, because Kerry then played with Dwight on the senior team after a number of years. And he was like, that's the same kid who used to be in the Kerry said, I can't remember. Now in England and in Europe, that practice is still done with the apprentices.
Right.
They clean the senior pros boots. They have a boy that is assigned to them, and that's his mentor. That's the guy who they will give him boots from his boot sponsor and give him, similar to what you did with Clarkie, similar to what people like Ron Laforet and they did with me, you know. So the evolution needs to go on. It needs to
continue.
As you say, with the DNA, as they talk about it, I talk about goalkeepers. When Bruce Gobler gave me a jersey, Peter Schmeichel, those type of things. And I'll even look at the guys down here, Errol Lovell, Earl Carter, Lincoln Phillip. When Lincoln gave me a jersey, I still have it up to now. And that is the DNA from him to me, where I pass on now. So, those are the things that you keep and you cherish. Knowing that, you have these guys could talk to you, could guide you accordingly. And people think DNA is something different. It's just those type of interaction with these type of guys, as Angus say, playing with, training under Gali in the strike squad days. I was at the latter half with him. I enjoyed it. I wasn't sure whether to make the team, but training and rubbing shoulders with these guys, with Ross Russell, Hayden Thomas, Errol Lovell, Earl Carter, and it could go on and on and on. In my time, it was hard as a goalkeeper himself to get in.
Right.
But eventually, I loved it.
Okay, let's take a break, and we come back, we pick up where we left off. Viewers, we'll be right back after the short break.
We are inspired. We are practiced. We learn. We have challenges. We are supported. we persevere. And we shine. This is our commitment to you.
Okay, welcome back, viewers. Hey, guys, let's use this last period to talk to administration, what they need to do to assist the kid in becoming great, or the kid in what he needs to do to help him develop good habits and become great.
I have seen a number of initiatives that mean something. I like to talk about what is right and still what is wrong, and what is wrong is what is wrong, but what is right, you must always point it out. And building the home of football is a massive, massive step. And, you know, because football is the only sport to not have a home in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So building the home of football is definitely a massive step in that direction. We should probably have a little museum inside of there where we can put up all of these things so that people can go and see, you know, the players from the past and have a little bit of history about every individual. So a young man can go in there, and there's a hotel so that we can align the corridors. And I'll give Clark here because he probably is billing it. No, the name the rooms
Right.
After players, yes.
They
so
do that.
You went in the Steve David suite and in this suite.
Yes, yes.
So those things are good ideas, and all the little pictures that they want to build, name them after players. So somebody will have to ask, and there's a plaque and say, well, oh, Anthony Clark, okay, well, he was this and that. And so those things are a step in the right direction. I think for the first time, we have a young team in training for a bit of a while under Stuart Charles. I think Stuart is a teacher. I think he would. I think he's a teacher. He studies the game. He's a teacher of the game, and he's the right person for those little kids, talking them through football and developing them. And I know he will throw in some history. He will throw in the history of the game and take. Although Shorty is not a Trinidadian by birth, he's a Trinidadian by play.
Correct. Shorty a long time.
Yes, he's very, very long. You know, right. So those things are all things going in the right direction. The other part of it, we need to come together a little bit more, and if we can come together a little bit more, then. Because plenty of other people have good ideas that can put to the table to make the thing stronger and better. And everything, you must have a leader. But a leader must be able to listen.
Correct.
If he doesn't listen, then it all falls apart.
I think the administration side, we need a bit of more forums, like goalkeeping forum, a coaches forum, a managerial forum. So therefore, the ideas wouldn't get just thrown out. It'll be in a controlled environment where we could go forward with it. And I think when we say these forums, we think as competing and competitiveness, but it's not only about that. The main thing is getting your ideas in a controlled environment where you can put it out to the youngsters, that it carries us as a nation forward and not just bicker each other. Because when you don't have those type of forums, you get pockets on the outside that manipulate these youngsters into bad judgment on their half. And that is where we get all these bickering about. So getting these little forums where we could build and develop our minds into betterment, I think that will help us a lot.
I hope that in this generation going forward with our administrations, we have two decent presidents. We have David John Williams and we have Keith Lucloy in terms of the Trinidad and Tobago, right, what our league is called? Super League. right? We have two people that love football. I hope they can come together to help the sport grow, and it doesn't come a bickering and a fight and so on. Keith loves the game. Keith has been in the game, right, for a very long time. He has great ideas, right, for the sport. And so too does David John Williams. So I hope that at that level they could come together. My Achilles heel has always been the college league. The college league is a law unto themselves, and that is where our players have to get the best development to help our national program at the best. Fortunately for some of the college league teams, they have great coaches like Angus, Sean Cooper in Prayers, and some others. But I'm speaking about the league as an entirety. They are not aligned with our national program. There's no connectivity there between ensuring that each college league team has a class coach or a coach that is qualified to ensure that everybody, we don't have the college league trying to meet with the coaches and say, look, this is part of the national development. This is what we want to do, so that, yes, we understand that we are alone, but we're going. Fortunately for Naparima College and Presentation College, we have two coaches that love the game. We have two coaches that are also on the national stage. And they are, well, Angus, you were on the national stage, not now a national coach, but you have the nation and the national interest at heart. And therefore, you see these two teams now, right, going to the top because they are, right, they understand the type of development that is required at this stage for the player to develop to go on to the next stage. But in the entirety, and I want Angus to comment on that,
of
because
course.
he is in the mix.
And I want to say that we don't even have it at the Super League. And when I say come together, I'm talking about everybody, because the Super League is also fragmented. It's trying to be a league separate and apart from the TTFA.
Right.
Now, to answer that question, I am coaching presently in the Colleges League, and I can definitely see the improvements. The College League has coaching seminars. Anton Colnil has run a B license course for the coaches, so they are elevating themselves. I can definitely see, when you look at the Colleges League, you want to see players leaving Colleges League and playing in the Pro League. That is the first step. And I've seen that. I mean, a number of the Shiva Boys players are playing pro. For some Naparima are playing pro. Prayers players are playing pro. Sawa players are playing. So a lot of players in the teams are playing pro. And there's a lot of other good coaches. I mean, Reynold Carrington is a fantastic coach. You have Jerry Moore down at Sawa. So there's a lot. Mike Grayson, a lot of guys with good experience. What is the disconnect is whereby the timing of the leagues must coincide with each other.
Correct.
And I think we need to get together to do a timetable for the leagues, so each one affects one in a positive manner.
So our suggestion to recommendation to the administrative board is, let's come together as one group,
Yes.
maybe at the home of football.
Yeah.
Everybody, like a big rally.
Yeah.
And let's talk.
Yes.
In a big park.
Definitely.
And talk about it.
And not come with preconceived notions.
Correct.
And come with an open mind.
Okay, so you guys have it. That's your recommendations. Okay, let me talk about the players now. What do they need to become great? I mean, again, I know attitudes and all that, but let's try to help them become a great player.
I think we need more, as I say, more people who will guide them accordingly. You know what I mean? We ask for certain of the Footballers Association who will have ex-players who will go around to these clubs and communities and whatever and talk to these players and really educate them about the sport and what will help them to better themselves into the sport. Not about the money, whatever, but keeping themselves in a certain perspective, you know what I mean, being role models. And people who've been there and who, you know what I mean, who had that type of living like these players to more go there and talk with them, educate them, because sometimes when they see administration of a higher level, they think, well, you don't know what I'm suffering below here. But when you have players are just saying, go there, who've been there right next to them, and could go and talk to them and educate them and say, you need to do this, you need to do that, and show them the steps, baby steps, I think they will more be, their minds will open up a bit more to understand what it is to be a player and even a better professional player.
I think Anthony alluded to it a little bit earlier when he said about coaches. I just think that our Achilles heel is that we're not putting the best coaches in the best positions. And I think that if we put the best coaches in the best positions and forget all these personality stuff, and me and you will never be different, we'll never see everything eye to eye. I may never go at Anthony's house and have a dinner, but we may lie him out in public and have a drink. That's life. But we must be professional enough to pick the right people for the right jobs. And our kids will not develop if we do not pick the right coaches for the right jobs. And that is the bottom line.
To add to both right statements, because both statements are very important. But the player must also have a big ambition. And the player must recognize that hard work is important. The player must recognize that discipline is important. The player must recognize only until he reaches in a Hall of Fame that he has have had success. Right, success doesn't come until you retire. Right, and the player, and that means that we do have to do some mentoring, some mentoring programs from ex-national players, which it has to be organized. So I still go back to the administration and the administrations, because we are not together as yet. So the College League on one end, the TTFA on one end, the Super League on the other end. If they want to remain fragmented, they each have to institute these different motivational aspects to ensure that the player motivates. We have this problem right now with West Indies cricket, that the administration feels that they are the be-all and end-all of the sport, and player development, they are treating players like...
Don't bring the West Indies.
But it could be, right? What I'm saying is that the administration has to realize that they are there to help the game and the players develop. And therefore, the right decisions have to be made according to Angus, if it's coaching or if it's whatever, the programs that they put. It is all designed to make sure that the sport remains on top of everything else.
I want to say, because attitude of players, you know, you have to have a chip on your shoulder. Not really have a chip on your shoulder. You move like it. You have,
the confidence.
You have to say, hey, I'm the best at what I do. And you have to feel it. And I mean, I only learned that talking to Archie for hours and talking to different people. And then when I get there in the big league with all the guys I thought was the big Pele and the George Best and them, and I realized, hey, I'm as equivalent.
Just as.
There's nobody, you know, so you get that, I'm here. And then if a reporter would come and say, how you feel playing with Pele? And I would say, what, Clarky? Go ask Pele.
How he feels playing with you.
Because, I mean, come on. You know, I arrive. I'm there. So those are the things I'm talking about. So I need somebody to make an appeal to the player out there or the players out there as to, hey, this is what you need to be, the best you can be.
I would I would ask players to, first of all, love the game. Second of all, study the game. Third of all, have the best interests of the game at heart. And if you have all these things in place, you would become great as any of the other great players. You can reach to your full potential. You can reach to become a professional player either locally or internationally. But you have to have those things in the correct order.
Yeah.
You want to add anything to it?
I mean, I just, in what Clarky said too, the attitude. All great players has a chip on their shoulders. That will only bring out because they know what they're doing, going to leave a legacy. And as you say, you're going to be as Clarky say, your name will be in the Hall of Fame. And all great players had that chip on their shoulder to leave their name there.
Right. And in addition, young players, don't be afraid to go up to Angus Eve or Ince and says, hey, talk to them. I mean, sometimes they look at us as a standoff.
Yeah.
And we have to be more receptive. And sometimes we need to pat them in the shoulder and say, and encourage conversation.
Yeah.
Because they might be intimidated.
Yeah.
And those are the things that I think we need to spread. And like you guys said, to the administration, you need to get together and get all the footballers and make them mingle and talk, because I learned a lot from talking more than being on the field. Yeah? Okay. Any parting words? Anything else that we
just attitude reflects leadership.
Right.
So the leadership that you get, that is what will shape the attitude of the other people.
We appreciate that. Hey, guys, thank you so much for being here. Clarky, Angus, Ince, thank you, bud. Appreciate you guys so much. Viewers, thank you for tuning in every Monday night. And we do repeat on a Tuesday, and you know that. If you miss it on Monday night, you can always catch it on a Tuesday. ACTN, thank you for giving us the opportunity to bring the show to our viewers. We appreciate you as well. We do have a Facebook page. You can check us out. We do have an email address, fieldofdreamstt@gmail.com. You can drop us a line. Don't forget, Field of Dreams has a soccer ball. It's coming soon to you at your place. And the show's ended. Go in peace. My name is Steve David. I'll see you next Monday night. Good night.